So what can the Fertility podcast do for you? Well, in this little video of my series explaining what we can do, I want to talk about male fertility. Now, if you haven't watched the other videos I've made, I've talked about miscarriage and getting pregnancy ready so far. And I'll be talking about some of the other areas we cover. If you don't know who I am, I'm Natalie Silverman, host of the podcast that I launched in 2014, once successfully pregnant after ICSI treatment. I now host it with a wonderful lady called Kate Davis, who is a fertility nurse consultant. Now, we had ICSI treatment due to male factor infertility, and I can't tell you how devastated my other half was when we sat in front of a consultant on the 23rd of December 2013. I remember it so well because Christmas was ruined. And the guy said to us, well, the problem's with you, this is to my husband, so you're going to have ICSI. And we had no idea what he was talking about. And my husband at the time was a personal trainer. He was a health and fitness coach and in peak fitness, and couldn't understand why things weren't working as they should. And we set about looking into what could be the problem. We looked online, we couldn't really find very much. And I've now learnt how much of a gap there is in research and understanding of male reproductive health. So much so that we've got a podcast episode talking about it. And we have a whole series dedicated to male fertility issues, speaking to experts as well as men that have shared their personal feelings about it and their own experiences, the emotions attached to it. And I want to make sure that if you are seeking out information, maybe your partner has been diagnosed, if you're a guy listening and wanting to understand more about this and what you can do, then I've got lots of podcast episodes available where we talk about the support that is available for you in terms of online Facebook groups and evidence-based platforms with peer support. There is help out there, and whilst it is still a difficult one for guys to talk about, there are more men talking. There are even more podcasts dedicated to male fertility. So check it out, visit thefertilitypodcast.com, and you can also download this podcast in your favourite podcast app. And if you are a woman struggling with the fact that this is your diagnosis, maybe it's affecting your relationship, in that the pair of you aren't able to talk about it, then again, in the podcast, we talk about how to kind of overcome those challenging conversations, again, where you can get support. It's always something that I'm happy to talk about because it is challenging. And within my closed Facebook group, which is called Talk Fertility, there are a number of conversations about how women are dealing with male factor. And I think it's something that we shouldn't feel ashamed to talk about with one another and with our partners. The feelings that come with any fertility or infertility diagnosis are totally valid. And when things like shame and guilt come up, and especially as all too often men are overlooked in fertility consultations, such a common thing that I hear with people that I talk to that guys aren't even spoken to. Often when fertility treatment takes place, it's all in the woman's name, and the guy just feels that, you know, he has to kind of contribute into a cup. And so these are all things that we talk about in the podcast. So please know that this is something that you can understand and get your head around more.